basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Warriors fans and the team's entire management created very high expectations about Brandon Podziemski, and this season the young player had a drop in production and reduced minutes. Of course, he has a lot of potential, but he is in a bad phase. Brandon Podziemski was considered non-negotiable, but it has already been said that if the Warriors are favorites, Brandon Podziemski could be traded at any time. Teams such as Phoenix Suns, Los Angeles Clippers, and Utah Jazz have already shown interest in the player. And involving Brandon Podziemski in a trade for Kevin Durant would be spectacular, and the Warriors are certainly closer to regaining their NBA dynasty. The Golden State Warriors are off to a blazing and surprising start. They hunted for a star this offseason, but could not strike a deal. It forced the Dubs to pivot to acquiring depth, which has played a massive role in their early season success. Buddy Hield has been fantastic so far, and the franchise is getting contributions from everyone, including an Andrew Wiggins bounce back that many questioned. Brandon Podziemski has been the weak spot. After 11 games, he has a negative value over replacement player, VORP, and the worst win shares per 48 minutes on the team. Pods cannot buy a jumper and is not living up to the hype after the Warriors refused to trade him, subscription required, for a star this offseason. Fans may be quick to say small sample size, but 13.4% of the regular season games are in the books with Pods shooting under 39% from the field. He has not found his offensive game. Is it time to worry? There should be some doubts. Brandon Podziemski's struggles are limiting his minutes. Golden State has depth but needs Podziemski more, with DeAnthony Melton sidelined by a knee injury. The second-year guard's ability to space the floor, make plays, and draw charges made him a building block, but it won't last long without improvement. Pod shot just 23.1% from three-point range as a freshman in college before transferring to Santa Clara. He made 43.8% from long range in his second NCAA season, but this shows he has had inconsistency with his shot previously. The 21-year-old takes just 4.0 of his 4.1 three-point attempts per game as open or wide-open looks per NBA stats. Pods has a virtually even split between catch and shoot and off the dribble, but is making 20% or under on both types. There is virtually no reason to explain why he is shooting just 19.5% on his threes so far other than a preseason nose injury forcing him to wear a protective face mask. Head coach Steve Kerr has played him just 19.5 minutes in each of the last 2 games, but time opened up with Melton's injury. This is the chance for Pods to get back on track. He must prove the Dubs were wise to keep him instead of trading for a star. Brandon Podziemski should soon bust out of his rough start to the season. Expect him to shoot nearly 40% from three-point range and make a massive impact if Golden State is going to make a deep playoff run. There is no reason he should be shooting so poorly with so many open shots. He is getting the right reps now. Podziemski must execute. Golden State cannot afford to have him missing every jumper, especially with Melton out. Will Pods step up? That is the goal, or this uncomfortable discussion could become a problem. Expect him to make more shots and help the team win. Brandon Podziemski cannot be untouchable given his current role. Pods has started just 3 games and is averaging just 25.5 minutes. Head coach Steve Kerr is leaning into his depth with Stephen Curry as the only one over 28 minutes each night. Podziemski is 4th on the team, despite his struggles. He must show more to prove his untouchable status and build on last year's numbers. Fans hope to see his scoring and playmaking improve with Chris Paul gone. Pods could blossom into a crucial role player but must start consistently knocking down shots and making plays. Brandon Podziemski is young and growth is not linear. It has been a slow start to the season, but he could quickly bounce back. Now is the time. The Golden State Warriors need more, and Pods is capable of delivering. He is getting playing time and open shots. It is all about taking advantage. Warriors Draymond Green up to dirty tricks versus Zach Edey in NBA Cup game. What Draymond Green will be remembered for in Friday's win against the Grizzlies. It's rare to see Golden State Warriors head coach Steve Kerr apologize to the team's fanbase for a disgusting basketball display, but that's precisely what happened following a game where Draymond Green was ejected. In the Warriors' 123-118 win over the Memphis Grizzlies, Green picked up 2 technical fouls in 33 seconds. But his questionable play on Zach Edey amid chasing a loose back, Draymond yanked on the rookie center's foot, tripping him in the backcourt in the third quarter, brewed frustration. After the game, Grizzlies head coach Taylor Jenkins expressed frustration over the fact that the play was never reviewed, per ESPN's own Young Masuk. "Very disappointing there was that one play," Jenkins said. "We were about to start the break, and he's been playing really hard to try to outlet, and Draymond grabs his leg and pulls him down, and it doesn't get reviewed. So I know there's a code in this league, and I don't understand how that wasn't reviewed. Very disappointing." Edey shared the same frustration. "It definitely wasn't a basketball play," Edey said after the game. And while Kerr and Green refused to address the official directly, Steve admitted whether intentional or not Green's play was dirty. After Draymond Green was ejected toward the end of Friday's win, Warriors head coach Steve Kerr apologized to the Golden State Warriors fans. He felt terrible about what happened. The last half was disgusting. "I felt bad for our fans having to watch that, what transpired," Kerr said, per Andrews. In addressing the NBA's code, Kerr reminded reporters what transpired during Game 2 of the Warriors' playoff series against the Grizzlies in 2022 when Dillon Brooks fouled Gary Payton II. "There is a code," Kerr said. "This code that players follow where you never put a guy's season or career in jeopardy by taking somebody out in midair and clubbing him across the head, ultimately fracturing Gary's elbow. He broke the code. Dillon Brooks broke the code." The Warriors improved to 10-2. Do the Warriors need a bigger, offensive-minded big man? The lack of true size has once again been a concerning issue for the Golden State Warriors in recent games, with the franchise still not having a player over 6'7", other than signed center Quinton Post. In their only 2 losses so far this season, the Warriors have given up huge numbers to their big opponents. LA Clippers center Ivica Zubac had 23 points, 18 rebounds, and 6 assists in Golden State's home opener, while Evan Mobley had 23 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 blocks in just 26 minutes on Friday at Cleveland. Is Jackson Davis the long-term solution for Golden State as the starting center? Whether he is or not, the Warriors may need to try to find an alternative who has more size and is at least a playable option. The ironic aspect is that someone with a similar skill set to Post, a tall player, over 7 feet tall, would be ideal, but the Warriors probably can't wait to see if or when the 52nd overall pick becomes a viable player for the rotation. Lopez and Valanciunas are 2 players that would likely interest Golden State as well, as they both offer a little more offensive power than what they currently have with Jackson Davis and Looney. Valanciunas could be a much more realistic option, as he makes just $9.9 million this season. The Lithuanian demonstrated what he can do against Golden State in their recent 5-game road trip, having 16 points, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists in just 21 minutes. Perhaps the Warriors would be better off waiting for a much more earth-shattering trade that would give them a star, particularly considering the Washington Wizards would want draft capital in exchange for Valanciunas. Either way, Golden State's lack of a 7-foot option is a concern that will be interesting to monitor as the season progresses.